Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheen Ajame. The phone lines are open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Got a topic we're going to talk about today that is gonna you have to kind of think about it just a little bit. Got a topic we're gonna talk about today, and you got to think about it just a little bit in order to get to the root, or how some people say the rut of this whole conversation. But we're gonna try to get there, and we're gonna try to use our expertise as much as we can to get there, to get to the bottom, to the root of this whole situation. Um, Not gonna be easy, might be a little complicated, but at the end of the day, like I said, we're gonna do the best that we can to make it to the root of this situation and try to get some kind of clarity on it. You again, you're more than welcome to give us a call 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. The phone lines are definitely open. The phone lines are popping open already. Let me see who we got here now. We got Captain Leonard. Captain Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and morning, Glow.
Man, look at here, man. Because of my tardiness, man, we're gonna jump right into the topic of the day. And Leonard, we first we got to deal with both sides of it, and then we got to go straight down the middle. And it'll make it'll make excuse me, it'll make sense to you in a minute when I tell you what it is. But Leonard,
I hope so.
what is worse? And the topic is this. The question of the topic is this right here. What is worst? White supremacy or black inferiority? First, we got to deal with what each one of them is, and then find out the result or the impact that it has on the community and communities, and which is worse. So first, let's deal with what white supremacy. What exactly is white supremacy from your angle, and what you're looking at it?
It's the ideology by those people who believe that they are superior to everyone else
Mm-hmm.
simply because they are white.
Mm-hmm. And
And that's far worse than any notion
mm-hmm.
of black inferiority.
Okay, so you're just gonna jump right to the last sentence. you gonna you gonna jump.
No, it's just the fact, you know, black inferiority is not a ideology.
Mm-hmm.
That's some type of feeling that anybody can have. And one thing about it is you don't have to be black to have it,
Mm-hmm.
to feel inferior.
Mm-hmm.
So that is very personal.
Mm-hmm.
White superiority is the actual ideology that has been implemented.
See,
You don't implement black inferiority.
mm-hmm. But is it a terrible thing? And I know some people take this thing to a total extreme. Some people do. And I'm talking about white superiority. They take this thing to an extreme. But is it a bad thing to think highly of yourself?
Well, first of all, let me make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not white superiority. Are you trying to
Well,
talk about white supremacy?
yeah, white supremacy. Yeah.
Okay, that's a little different.
Yeah, white supremacy. I might have spoken wrong because supremacy is what I got written on the paper. I don't know what my eyes seeing, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. See, white superiority or black inferiority is a lot closer in definition
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what white supremacy is about.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking about white supremacy.
Right. See, white supremacy is an actual ideology that has been implemented. And you can see all the different actions and things that support that ideology,
Mm-hmm. Such as.
such as systemic racism
Mm-hmm.
brought
Mm-hmm.
upon us because of this whole notion of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's an agenda as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it everywhere.
What do you say to the people? And yeah, I agree with you 110%, Leonard. I definitely agree with you. So I have no opposition to that. But what do you say to the people that say, I'm not a white, I don't practice white supremacy. I just love myself. Is it the thing that I love myself? Is that really an issue that they love themselves, or is it the extreme that they take it to?
White supremacy has nothing to do with love at all.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you mix the feelings with an agenda and a motive.
Mm-hmm.
See, that feeling you can have, and you can
Mm-hmm.
just have that feeling, and that's okay if you just feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different when you act on it.
Mm-hmm. And
See, anytime black people feel a certain way, white people feel a certain way.
mm-hmm.
However, white folks took it upon themselves to act on their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it so horrible.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what discrimination is about.
Mm-hmm.
Systemic racism has resulted from that ideology and that agenda.
Mm-hmm. How does that impact white supremacy? How does that impact our community, Leonard?
Well, it depends. It impacts your community based on how you allow it to impact you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, for instance, back during the civil rights issues, it was affecting those individuals. They didn't have the right to things that other folks had.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the effect it had upon them. So they did what? The civil rights movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sparked the movement for civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been fighting since then. That's what the movement is about. Unlike how other people feel about themselves and try to interject that and make it a part of the movement, that was never part of the movement.
Mm-hmm. So basically, what I'm hearing you saying, we got Mr. Hicks here. I'm gonna go to him as well. Basically, what I'm hearing you saying, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be a little off base here. Without white supremacy, there would have been no movement in our community had it not been for that.
Right, because you got to remember, this is an effort by people to oppress other
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a motive to oppress, and that's exactly what those people did.
Okay. Let me go and Leonard, we got so much we could talk about right here, but I got to bring Mr. Hicks into the conversation as well. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem family. Doing fine. Pray you doing well.
Hey, doing good, and likewise, brother. Pray you doing as well. We jumping right into our topic of the day, because I was a little tardy getting here today, man. I had a couple of issues this morning.
Too.
But what is worse in your eyes? We got two different lanes. Look at you, man. Miss Hicks, you something else. We got two different lanes that we're traveling down here, and then we're gonna hopefully pull it together and meet them in the middle. And so, I'm asking the question: what is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? What do you say to that?
They're both connected. In that sense, it was white supremacy that developed the whole philosophy and theology that we were inferior.
Mm-hmm.
And that produced for us this thing of inferiority complex. I think that when I go back to, and I know it must be, I want to talk with Badgie after the podcast because it's a misunderstanding of the theology of the nation and its origins and its
Mm-hmm.
purpose and the psychological tool that was used to usurp the power of white supremacy and deposit it in us by saying that we were God and they were the devil historically.
Mm-hmm.
And it said the white man was the devil. And a lot of people got that mixed up with the white skin, saying that the white skin of a man was what made him a devil. But the theology said that this thing ordered from us, one of us created this thing in the as a myth. But I think it was so empowering to see black folks coming from the 40s and 50s from that bowed down, Stephen Fetchit kind of shuffling thing that changed. So I would say basically, answer your question specifically, it was the inferiority complex was worse to us because we didn't have that belief in ourselves. We didn't have that belief in ourselves. We had to believe whatever they were telling us, whatever the society around us was telling us who we were. And I think that that once we rose up through the many movements of Noble Drew Ali, which originated in Newark, New Jersey, where I live, grew up, then into all the other things that branched out to the Nation of Islam and Marcus Garvey, all those movies was on the shoulders of building up the self-esteem that gave us the psychological ability to even confront white supremacy because we believed in ourselves a little more. But
so you say that they go hand in hand. One actually sparked and stemmed the other.
Yes, it's almost that they're coexistence. Before they created the term of the white man, and before they would, because a lot of the nobles that came out of Europe were technically they were African or black, but they were classified as white. What you've seen in immigration policy changed over the centuries and times to begin to distinguish between white and black. And actually, historically, it was a fight to keep the Jessups, the Catholic Church, out of the formation of this country. And that's been the battle from the very beginning, because that whole white supremacy thing stems from the church at that point, what we call the church before the Reformation of Martin Luther. It was just a thing of we were nobody.
Wow. Leonard, which one, if any of the two, has had or still have the biggest negative impact on our community?
White supremacy.
Explain that to me.
Like I said before, white supremacy is not just an ideology. It's been implemented. Black inferiority is up to you. You feel inferior? Hey, that's just how you feel. Everybody don't feel like that. Like, say, for instance, I don't have any issues whatsoever tied to how white people feel about black people, because I don't care. I never have. I knew it was a lie from the beginning. White people are not superior to black.
Okay. Absolutely.
So I never bought into that. I'm understanding now that there are some people who did. But then again, I don't really associate with those type of people.
Yeah.
But the notion, like one, say, for instance, Brother Hicks, eyes have seen things I have not because of his age. So he would, if somebody was there to tell you more so how they felt. I can't tell you how black people felt. They have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Just because somebody come and tell you ain't something don't mean it's true.
True.
So I'm not susceptible to that type of thing, and I don't usually associate with those type of people. I consider that very weak-minded.
Good. Mr. Hicks, from your experiences back in the day, when all of this stuff was really going on at a totally different level. Not saying that it's not going on at a level today, because it certainly is. It's just covered a little better. But when it was so open and blatant, what are some of the worst things that you could see that white supremacy or black inferiority has done to impact our community?
From from my experience, uh, the brother just said he was really accurate too. I think that our perspective is shaped by what we experience, and what we experience in this country it depends on what year you were born.
Yeah,
because things have been shifting all along the way. Uh, I agree with the brother said. There's always a group of people that have their identity, a secret identity they don't expose to others. My family identified with the Native American culture, so all basic stories I got was about that experience. But I was always taught as a child to keep it a secret, not to say it out loud because I would be persecuted if I did that. It would upset the census report. They begin to classify us as different things. But in terms of me seeing our inferiority complex being more important than not more important. That's cutting. Let me say it like this. I think the fact that everything around us told us that we were inferior. The language, you heard the things. The white cake is the angel food cake. The black cake's a devil food's cake. But balls on the table, and then you go to the dictionary to find out the meaning of words, and then you go back to the history. Even when you read the history of our country, this country here, and this revolution and everything, we're written out of the history. We even get pictures of different people that sat in Congress at that point that they put as white. They painted them as white, but if they did a correct interpretation, they would be Rudy cover. They would be like mulattoes.
Yeah.
So I think even down to mathematics and science, all these things were written out and told that we could contribute nothing to the society of people on earth, ever. And as our history start coming out, and we start again, it goes back to a series of leaders who came along. But the pivotal ones, the recent one in this history, and still sort of got remnants of it with Minister Farrakhan and the nation that's still surviving and thriving off the same theology. And because they understand it at a different level now. It's a baby knowledge of it. I remember my son was in school, my youngest son was in school, he was in school, and somehow in school, he came out and he said that the white man was a devil. In one of the conversations with other kids in there, and they went to the teachers, so they called me and my wife in for a sit down with a discussion, and sitting there deliberating with them, and I bombarded them. I said historically, when I started the history of them, and the thing that was astonishing, I just realized they didn't even know the history.
Yeah.
I was educating them, so I tipped their thing, but then I had to go through a process. I said, how am I going to reshape this kid, right? That's got this theology from his siblings, and that's our belief in our little world. Our world is just here that we're waiting for a savior. But so is the Muslims, so are the Christians, so are the Hopi. They're all waiting for someone to come along and set this thing right. Yeah. But complicated subject. You really think of some things, bro, in the morning, don't you?
I love the idea and the thought of making people think about certain things, man. And so, this is one right here. This is, and if we do this thing right, man, we'll shed a lot of light on a lot of situations that's been going on for centuries. And that we could probably put our hands on a little bit, maybe not change it, but give people a different perspective and an outlook on it. Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, doing well.
Tucson, what is worse? White supremacy or black inferiority? What is worst?
I was just about to say neither one of them exists to me. Neither one of them.
Okay. But
it's a mindset. Say it again so I can make it sure it's clear that I didn't hear what you said.
What is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority?
You're not superior and I'm not inferior. That's just it. That's a mind. That's what you think. Get away from me with that. That's just me. I mean, I don't even entertain it. Now, I don't know when that was, but it's not now. Not to me. I don't operate like that, and I will not. Period.
Mm-hmm.
End of story.
But
if you try it, we're gonna have some problems.
But outside of your circle and outside of your realm, we know that these two things does exist. So which one do you think would cause the most harm to our community?
Oh, if we feel like we're inferior, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's worse. The yesser mentality.
Yeah.
That make me sick.
Mm-hmm.
Here you are. You know what's happening? I don't know. Well, I can't say it because some gonna get offended. Well, get offended. Let's see. I was not gonna say it, but you know the drive now to lift the sister up to bring the brother down.
Yeah.
Did I say something wrong?
Come on. Let's talk.
Hmm?
Let's talk.
Come on, really.
Let's talk.
I mean, we don't mind bringing them up to the point where some of us, I say us, our sisters, will be willing to, just so they can get up, marry them. Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not mad at you. Love is a many splendid thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not about race. But I see in my arena, I see the attempt to make a name for yourself at my expense. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute now. Wait, I'm watching. I'm paying close attention. And I'm not going to have it. So it sets me and my sister at odds. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to have that either. So I have to be careful of how the manipulation is another trick to make sure that you're a buck breaker, and I won't be broke.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You trying something that looks appealing, but it's another trick. And love my sisters to death. I want them to achieve whatever they have, and I'm gonna help them do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but not at my expense. I'm not gonna do that like that. So I have to maneuver my way through the trick of the trade, to make sure that I don't damage her. But I have to tear down that you in your thinking that you're superior and I'm inferior. You're using the tool that's supposed to be our helpmeet.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Come on.
Watch yourself, man, because you're treading deep water that you don't know what's festering. I hope you hear what I'm saying. Right?
Yes, sir. I do.
It might not be making no sense, but if you look at it, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, and I don't appreciate it.
Exactly. Yeah, Rico with us this morning. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Rico? How you doing this morning?
I can't complain, man. How y'all doing, man?
Hey, doing good.
Happy to see another beautiful new day, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, good to have you. Good to have you, Rico. I'm asking a question, brother, and I want to hear your whole heart on this, man. And the question is really two, maybe even three folds, because there's a couple of layers on it. We're gonna deal with one side, we're gonna deal with the other side, then we're gonna go straight down the middle. Then we're gonna drive the truck down the middle of the street. All right. Keep the truck between the lines. Rico, what is worse? White supremacy or black inferiority?
Oh man, let me see. I have to weigh the pros and cons of that. There's nothing worse than a black person that feels inferior, because they'll sell you out, chicken out.
Yep.
You know, just lay there and let something happen to you. You know, pretty much like what happened with Emmett Till. You know, but then at the same time, you have that side of white supremacy that ultimately knows how to deal with the black person that doesn't feel inferior, like what happened with Nat Turner. Nobody can find his body parts. Patrice Lumumba, way over in Africa, nobody can find his body parts. Marcus Garvey was deported.
Yeah.
You know, there's Black Wall Street was bombed, that, you know what I'm saying, by its own government. Defiant black people sooner or later still end up meeting a severe consequence. So when you think about it, white supremacy normally ends up still coming out on top. So you have to ask yourself, is it better to just try to lay back and survive and fight, you know, pick and choose your certain fights, or should you just stand up and always be defiant and never be inferior and risk losing your life or getting, you know, your livelihood taken away from you due to white supremacy? You know, so I understand the reason why some people don't stand up. I understand why some people do say, shh, you better be quiet. I get it, because some people are not willing to make the sacrifice that it would take to be deported to another country or killed to the point where nobody can even find your remains. They could just, you know, right now they trying to say Nat Turner was a myth. Ain't that something? But Patrice Lumumba, he wasn't a myth.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you think about what happened with Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and Emmett Till, you know, I mean, the consequence of what happened to black people at a certain time, being inferior was a way of survival. So, you know, that you know, white supremacy was that much of a boogeyman. Now, right now, we got rights. So,
that's that stay in your place in word.
Yeah, that force, you know what I'm saying? That force that came with it, and no consequence to them behind it. You know, it was justified just because. And even today, when you look at a strong black person that might not just be only standing out and fighting against what's going on, the conditions that exist, but he might be wrongfully incarcerated, standing up, fighting for his rights. But the white supremacy judicial system got him locked up. So it's hard to say which is worse, you know, but I can say that I would rather die fighting than to die just, you know what I'm saying, taking it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I imagine black inferiority would be the worst, because one thing about it, if you feel defiant and you want to revolt against that white supremacy, you're going to get some type of victory. Like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, for every one of mine you get, if I get 10 of yours, I might have did my job. So if you end up getting me in the end, believe me, I probably got 20 before you got me.
Wow.
You ain't just beat me and get away with it.
Yeah, it ain't no cakewalk. Tucson, talk to him. Tucson Leonard, coming to you next. Tucson, you there?
Yeah, y'all go ahead.
What's on your heart, brother?
No, y'all go ahead. I guess I don't want.
Okay. Leonard, talk to me.
You know, like I say, it's a matter of perspective, and everybody ain't on that same wagon where I'm just going to be inferior. No, I'm not. Because I'm not. You can say what you want, that don't make it true. It's how you react and how you behave. If you choose a certain way, that's up to you. But I would never say that anything, you know, I don't support this notion that just because somebody says something to you, that's who you should be or who you are.
Yeah.
Now, if you chose to think and all those types of things, that's truly what you're thinking. That's truly in your mind. Look at the some of the best books and things like that, and some of our greatest ancestors, they didn't feel that way. That's why they succeeded. That's why we have the Booker T. Washingtons and all, like, up from slavery. Even though just because you may be in the position of a slave does not mean that is who you are. You just may be in that position at that time, which a lot of our ancestors found themselves. One day they were in slavery, and the next day they were free.
Let me ask you this:
So
how do you tell one that may be in that predicament or that situation or even that mindset? How do you tell them and pull them out of that and make them know and understand and realize that they're not a slave, that they are not a slave? How do you pull them out of that situation if they have that mindset, if it's been instilled in them?
Well, one, I don't believe you can do that.
Mm-hmm. You mean
they have to decide for themselves.
Okay.
There's a lot of people around here claiming slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They're not slaves.
Uh-huh.
They've accepted something. They identifying. Like, I'm a man. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now you pick and choose how you identify.
Mm-hmm.
So if you obsessed with slavery and being less than, and you choose to think about yourself that way, ain't nothing I can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just one of them that don't want to be free.
Does everybody do you think, and I'm pulling something out of what you just said, do you think there are some people, actually, I'm even gonna ask the question different, do you think there are some people that really don't want to be free?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know people that get tired of living out here and don't did something else to go to jail because jail sets a schedule for them. And soon they get out amongst, especially if you have that institution, if you've been institutionalized.
Yeah.
And you get fed up with the responsibilities of being free, then you start doing stupid stuff to once again become incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
Like the military is one of the best things for people that are undisciplined. You don't even have to think when you go into the military. They'll think for you. They'll tell you what to do, when to get up, how to eat, and get you into the mind of disciplining yourself to get something done.
Mm-hmm. Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir. What's on your heart?
Freedom. I think freedom is something that's deposited in us when we enter here. It's inside of us, every one of us, a desire to be free. When you're raising kids, they go through a stage where they'll look at you and tell you squarely in their head from the foundation, so you're not the boss of me. You've got to domesticate them. Freedom, we're not free as a people, and neither are white people, because we don't have the true history of the earth. We don't have the true history of all the civilization that's passed before us now. We don't even have origins of what we call the Bible, how it's rooted in clay tablets they find for 35 and 40,000 years ago. So freedom is something you have. It's innate. You got it. You don't exercise it, because freedom bears a cost. For freedom, you're willing to give your life up for it, and you do. All the soldiers who took, I think, as we went through our wars, fighting with this country, started from a civil war to World War I and World War II, each war produced inside of us a belief that we wasn't inferior, because we met the enemy on the battlefield and we found ourselves braver than the others. We had something inside of us that made us a warrior, and we didn't know it until the conflict was right in front of me. When we talk about heroes, and I think when the COVID thing with nurses are heroes and everybody's a hero, and then they kick you out the job. But back in conflict and battle, where we earned our teeth, we were the courageous one. I'm talking with my own eyes. I saw this. I saw Black soldiers do things that you wouldn't even believe they would do, because they believed in what that paper said. They knew it wasn't true for them then. They know it's not true now, but they take an oath to defend this thing, this Constitution, against enemies, foreign and domestic. I took the oath but didn't understand it. I was rebellious. I did because they were making me do it. But as I understand more what this country, this experiment was about, how it's trying to free us from the clutches of the Catholic Jesuit Church that assassinate all the first presidents. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by the Jesuit, Adams, all of them guys. And most of them was on the 4th of July. So it couldn't have been an accident. Freedom is our birthright. Every human being's birthright.
Rico, I saw you agreeing with what Mr. Hicks was saying. What's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, when emancipation came through, somebody had to go to Texas and let somebody know some years later that they weren't slaves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Some people thought they were still slaves and didn't realize they wasn't slaves. Now, in this day and time, we have people that really don't understand that they are mental slaves to a certain extent. Social slaves and economic slaves.
Yeah.
You have to conform and do some things. You have to do some strange things for some change. And, you know, some of that is might be like sacrificing your quality time with your children and not being able to raise and protect them the right way. You know, the thing about it is those people in Texas wouldn't have ever found out if somebody else didn't come back and tell them. So that's why we can't believe that we can't bring people out of it. In 2009, somebody was still found to be in modern day slavery. 2009 in Mississippi. Therefore, the state of Mississippi decided to go ahead and totally ratify, I think it was the 13th or the 14th Amendment. They just totally decided to just, you know, get rid of it because people were still manipulating black people and had them living in a dependent manner to where their whole livelihood was based off what they wanted to do for them and give them. They were still living in the same little shacks and huts that their great-great-grandparents lived on. And then we got to think about Fannie Lou Hamer. You know what I'm saying? She was a sharecropper, but to be honest, it still was a form of slavery.
Yeah.
You know, so being that we know that things evolve, you know, even though we know that even if a person does feel like they are slaves and they're weak, we can't say, well, I can't deal with these type of people. Because maybe they just didn't know. Maybe the lifestyle, see, white supremacy is a lifestyle, it's a culture, and it's a force. And if you are forced to believe that lifestyle is the way it's supposed to be and you're born into it, somebody has to show you and educate you and teach you that ain't the way it's supposed to be. This is a whole facade. But everybody didn't get that. So everybody learns in different ways, in different manners, and in different spaces what type of fraud it is. And even in those different levels, some people think they're out of it. When people up here know that you are not completely out of it, but these people down here start saying, y'all some fools, slavery over. Now these people up here saying, no, they still got you. They still got you bamboozled, like Malcolm X said. This thing is way deeper than just the financial success and the education that you think of, because like Hicks said, it's some education you ain't getting. And if you don't know you need to get it, it ain't your fault. True enough, it's out there. But if you have been told and you have been conditioned to believe this is what you need to know to make it. Or maybe you did think for yourself in school, and when they told you about Columbus, you say, wait a minute, how can you discover something where people is already living? Get out of class. You disruptive. You a class clown. We're gonna fail you. You need to be in special ed. Oh, so now what you need to do, you need to conform, and you need to give the answer that they told you was right to pass this test or to pass this class or to get this job, or you ain't gonna make it in this system. And if you don't make it in this system, you ain't gonna survive. But this is all you know now. So if somebody come back and tell you, hey man, everything they taught you is wrong. Everything, go out there and research. You go, man, I don't want to hear this. This is what I need to make it. I got my college, I got my degrees, I got my job, I'm making my money, and I don't want to hear all that foolishness you talking about, man. Racism is over. And so that's what we got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because we believe that we are out of slavery, but really and truly, we are being forced to consume some false things to succeed and to survive. We are being forced to accept some conditions that just ain't right, and then have to go back and say, well, this the way it is. It's the system. It works. When really and truly it doesn't work, because there's still a lot of people getting caught up in it and not getting that fair shake in this system. So it's a lot of things that ties into slavery still being alive and well, and we need to make sure that we try our best to be open to seeing that we might be trapped in some ways still when we think we're out of it.
The web is still there, huh? That web is
it.
still there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is I'm loving this conversation, man. I'm loving where we're going with it, man. And the way it is, man, it's so many different layers and the thing. We're not gonna cover them all today. We certainly not gonna cover. We might extend this until tomorrow or even Monday and Tuesday, just to get all the layers in there, man. Because there's so many different things that, and so many different potholes that's been placed in front of individuals, man, that they have to navigate real carefully to make it around. Because if they hit one of them potholes, it could take them way on back to where they feared coming from. And so it's so many different things. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, and good morning, family. Morning Glow family.
Good morning to you, sir. Asking a question, and I want to hear your heart on this. It's a twofold. Then we're gonna bring it together and run it straight down the middle. All right, we're gonna do a Earl Campbell and run it right down the middle through the one and a two hole. We're gonna run it through there. But what is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority?
Well, I cannot vouch for black inferiority because that doesn't exist. White supremacy.
Wait a minute. Now, you say it does not exist.
Upheld, of course.
Hey, Joe, you say black inferiority does not exist?
No, sir.
Okay. Stay right there for a minute and explain that to me.
Okay, because when you look at civilization, black civilization far excelled the European barbarians who became nation states or whatever. So that is a myth that is propagated by those who wants to extend their power or spread their imperialism all over the world. But there's no such thing as black inferiority. In fact, all humankind came from black. So I say that there will be a dominant gene there if you take that in consideration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no, there's no black inferiority now. But there is white supremacy, but there's the myth. That is a myth that has been propagated. Now, I've been watching these revolutionary films on Africa, the various countries that got their independence during the 50s and 60s. One of the things that Patrice Lumumba of the Congos realized that the French who colonized them had educated the black people to be just servants in the system.
Mm-hmm.
They were not doctors and lawyers and, science. They weren't trained to be scientists and military tacticians. They were just trained to be servants to the colonial empire. And those revolutionaries realized that they were going to have to train black folks to take over their own country and run it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this country, we've been trained the same way, by the same kind of mindset, black people.
Wow.
So
wow.
We have to fight to get into some of these military institutions, West Point and, the Citadel and all this, so that we could train our young black leaders to be military leaders so they could run this country, all right, so that they could maintain this country. Now, when you consider that in light of the browning of America, you can understand the behavior of the MAGA people and all those who are trying to be careful of what we learn in school, that we don't learn the true information about ourselves and have knowledge of ourselves, because that will undo the myth of black inferiority and white supremacy. That would undo the myth. So they know where we are educationally. Look at Herschel Walker.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Educationally, many of our people are in a position to be used by the guardians of the system. And those of us, like people on this radio broadcast, who are enlightened and who are speaking like grown men and women. Those are the threats.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they killed Patrice Lumumba, and they fomented tensions against Kwame Nkrumah, and they did the same thing in Iran, and they do this all over the world. They try to either assassinate the enlightened people of the groups, or undermine them, or turn the people against them, or some. So at the end, is always they always have to use that same strategy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to Malcolm. That's what happened to Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers. You understand? All those leaders down in Mississippi, Patty Lou Hamer. You know, anytime we are enlightened and stand up and begin to talk like grown folks, the system sends the CIA, FBI after us. Now, everybody should go back and look at the Bandung Conference and look at the one in 2015 where China's leader Xi was speaking. And don't buy everything because Xi want to get African and Latin American countries in their throes so that they owe them money. And if they can't pay, of course, China can take over their ports and their train system. So I'm not saying we should buy everything Xi said, but Xi talks about the Bandung Conference in 1955 and the spirit of that conference and how that those Asians and Africans got together to decolonize their countries. And you'll never hear Biden talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
or no U.S. president. They're not gonna talk about the Bandung Conference. Now, but Barack Obama mentioned it because he grew up in Indonesia, part of his, growing up. He mentions it, but even he only footnoted it.
Yeah.
But we should go back and study it because the same enlightenment that those leaders are at is where African Americans should be today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call, man. Y'all, hey, it's a hot one today, brother. This is a hot one. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
It's another beautiful and blessed day.
Yes, sir. Badger, we asking a question. What is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? What do you think is worse?
I view them as equal.
Mm-hmm. Why you say?
Because the whole purpose of white supremacy is to get another race to allow themselves to be slaves.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay.
So, and to me, unless I'm misunderstanding inferiority,
Inferiority.
which my understanding of it is thinking less than.
Yes.
So,
or thinking someone else is greater. Same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it's. I mean, if you have a ruler, one can be said. It's the same side. It's a coin with two different sides. Like it's which one are you going to get when you flip it? So to me, there's. Are you the individual's choice? I was actually I stayed up until like 1:00, 1:30 in the morning, having conversations actually on this topic last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I was running later than normal. And me and another person was bringing up a point of how, racism, kind of started, why it was used, how it's used, how it affects everybody, how it affected the education system, and just the whole depth of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the most insane part is when you start getting into the money side. for some reason, that ends up causing so much fear that will stop people from standing up.
Mm. Mm.
When you start talking about reparations, you start talking about, making certain changes and things like that. Is it starting to go away some? Yeah, some.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But depending on where you live, it ain't gonna go away until them old folks die.
Mm. Wow. Wow. And wow, it's so many different levels. It's so many different levels, man. And I have so many different alleys and streets I could run down right now. But I'm gonna keep this thing going because I want to go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well. Assalamu alaikum to Allah. Good morning, family.
Good morning.
How's
Good.
everybody?
Hey, doing good. Doing good. Hope you're doing well as well. Asking the question, man. Ibrahim, what is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority?
Black inferiority. Both of them are adverbs of state of being. Now you can think you are what you are, be anything that you want, and we should have that same type of feeling about ourselves, being superior than. It has a negative to anybody around you, but to have the feeling of being inferior to somebody, that goes against everything my daddy raised me about. Before I want to get into it, the gentleman that spoke before Badger, what's his name?
That was Joseph.
Joseph, I wish I can talk to you, man, because I've had nothing to say but to add to what you said about Kwame Nkrumah and also brother Frantz Fanon, and talk about that. And I want to know more about the conference that you're speaking of. But anyway, when you feel inferior, or people can make you feel inferior, you will act inferior. I think Marcus Garvey spoke about that. And some other people that's an act of being, and you cannot rise beyond that as long as you're in that mindset. You can keep people in prison. You can have 30 guards running 3,000 inmates. If they have that feeling of inferiority or some reason they're going to fight against each other to gain some type of holding within that jail. You can maintain whole communities, black communities being done now. If they had that inferiority complex, right, that they will attack their own relatives, to attack the people that they think they're suppressing them or oppressing them. That's all of the state of mind. So yeah, I think inferiority is worth thinking to say something I was trying to say yesterday about, Malcolm X. Malcolm X said, that we don't have to worry about changing the mind of I'm going to use the word oppressed instead of white people. You need to change the mind of black people, about themselves and their status and what they want. And I've been fighting and talking to a lot of people about the Nubian nation concept, that we should look at ourselves as a government. How can you be a government if you don't act as a government? You don't think in a governmental way. You don't think in growing and building and having something. You know what I mean? What the mind can see is the body can achieve, right? So we had to be able to perceive and conceive of us being in control. But we give this away to everybody else. When we think of things, we talk about America, we think that all America, that we should be a part of something. That's an inferiority complex, right? You think that I can run this country. We can run this country. We can be, not just being a president, but we can run the country. We can run the industry of the country. We can run the resources out the land. We can take from that. We can profit from the resources of the land. We can husband the resources of the land and animal and agriculture, right? These are the most important things. But we still talking our kids about being athletes, about being rap dancers and rap singers, right? But we don't have that. We don't have the forethought our fathers have. Want us to be doctors, lawyers, mechanics, machinists, builders of empires and nations, and from the ground up, the movers of earth. The builders of interstate and highways, commerce, transportation systems. We talk about our kids about playing on computers, stuff like that, right? We don't talk about us doing anything to harvest this land, to make this land work for us. But we'll look down at everybody else, around the world, and then claim that they don't have the wealth for us to do this. But we don't have the wealth for us ourselves. We are dependent because freedom is independence of self. You're independent of self. We're not independent people.
Wow.
We should be independent people. So I think the worst thing that we can say is the inferiority complex. Is the worst thing that can tame or that has kept us Black Americans and everybody look forward to of coming up with something, doing something, as the worst thing could possibly happen to us.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I'm just listening. Like I say, I would expect various perspectives on the issue, but no one answer is better than the next.
Yeah.
I love what Brother Wheeler said, because it's truly a state of mind. The Nation of Islam, and then what the brothers were talking about was changing how you think. See, if you're a 70s baby, you don't think like a 50s baby. But what you do recognize, the connection is the common enemy. I don't need you to tell me I'm worth something. That, I mean, it's not for you to decide what I'm worth. I was born free. I am free indeed. And I have every right.
Let me throw this. Let me throw this question in there in what you're saying, and I'm certainly not gonna say that you're wrong. I believe that, but what is freedom?
Freedom is the ability to do whatever I want to do. And see, that's what, you know, some people think freedom is, they still want to control you. I won't have a white master nor a black one. Do you understand?
Come on.
That's freedom. I don't care how you feel about yourself. That has nothing to do with me. That's everything to do with you. You got to work on you. But if I say we leaving tonight, you ain't even got to go. If you think you're getting a better deal with Master, stay with him. If that's where you feel your best at, stay with him. If that's what's going to allow you to make excuses for your behavior, stay with him. Because see, the moment you declare your freedom, you have to be responsible for it. You don't get to blame other people for your actions, because you're free to do as you please. And those people who don't think they can probably are people who don't do nothing.
Wow. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Man, it's like I had a voila moment, man. Let me say this, man. It really just clicked to me how deep this mental slavery thing works, and how black inferiority works. And so, you know, everything everybody said is true. And I can say one thing we are wrong at is when we say that we don't have the black attorneys and the black doctors and the black inventors and the black creators. We got them. But guess who benefiting from their work?
Wow.
Guess who they giving their work to? See, if they brought it back home, but guess what? Ain't nobody doing nothing for free. Everything is about whose dollar. You get what I'm saying? So we do have these doctors. We do have these leaders. Now we have that aspect of what's keeping us in mental slavery. Then we have the other aspect of the fact that we value their dollar and their system so much, so that's who we contribute these resources to get their dollar to spend back to their system. So it's money over everything. And it's their success, they ideal success. So we're not coming back to the community saying, hey, y'all, we fixing to give y'all this education that they're not teaching y'all. Somebody gonna have to pay to do it, or you're gonna have to find time in their schedule in between their 7 or 8 hustles that they trying to get to still be successful to this system. But then we sort of contradict ourselves. We have to reach down to the weak-minded people that don't realize they're slaves or don't understand that they are an inferior. Some that act like they are inferior and just don't get it, because that's what the nation does. And that's what Marcus Garvey did. And that's what a leader will do. See, you just can't shut people off because they don't get it. When you see people don't get it and they your people, because if you continue to just let them first, if you ain't gonna kill them, then you're gonna allow them to continue to fester and continue and make your community, degrade your community. So then you have to say, well, I'm just looking out for myself.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say, Rico, is there's some use for everybody. We just got to figure out where they fit in and where they could be the most useful for the community as a whole.
You got to wake them up. You got to do what they did to the people in Texas that they celebrate Juneteenth for. Like I said, everybody wasn't born pre-programmed with what Marcus Garvey was talking about. Everybody wasn't born pre-programmed with what Elijah Muhammad was talking about. He had to bring some people to his standard, to that standard. He had to teach them and elevate them and let them know y'all are the original people. Y'all are the superior people. He had to let them know that. He didn't say, well, you know what? If you don't know it, it's your fault. All you got to do is research it.
The heck with you.
Because that would be a selfish mindset. So if you're gonna be about that life, about being a social activist, if you're gonna be about helping and lifting up people, educating people, wanting people to do better, you can't have this where I don't deal with these type of people mindset. When you see that they don't know no better, sometimes they're making that choice because they don't know no better. But if you're gonna quote the principles of Marcus Garvey or the Nation, if you're gonna quote the principles of Martin Luther King, who led many people who wasn't marching before him, he had to bring them along, white and black. He had to lead the way, and he had to reach out and grab people that wasn't doing it. Some that were doing it and some wasn't, but he told them, look, man, you missing it. What he said, anybody that isn't standing up against it is complicit.
Wow.
So, he had to reach out and get people that actually had an impact, but they made up their mind that they wasn't going to do it and say, look, man, as long as you feeling like you just got to look out for yourself, then you are helping white supremacy.
Wow.
Just like if you don't vote, your vote, that non-vote, is a vote for the people that you don't want to get in office. You're still contributing. So exactly. I was thinking about that. We got these doctors and these lawyers, man, but it's up to us to wake those intellectuals up and let them know, look, man, you benefiting, you succeeding in that system, but everything we saying we need to do to have our own, we got it.
Wow. Mr. Hicks, talk to me. That's good, Rico. Real good. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I was thinking about the decolonization of Africa and the talented tenth of those of us here, right? The whole idea was to be free, but I think part of going back to the teachings of the Nation, part of the problem was that once these people went through the education in Europe at those different universities or either colleges, they go through a hazing, they go through a process joining the Bole or joining different alphabet numbers of sororities. And by the time they're fully educated, they have the same mind as the white man. And the whole idea of the Nation was saying that man is mind and mind is man. And that it's the mind that make you a devil or a god. And I think that by the time those people, all of them in Africa, and I researched it, Frantz Fanon, all of those, they went through the educational system that was put in place by white people that had a white supremacy format that was all based on. So by the time they got their masters and their PhDs and stuff, their mind had been reshaped to be the same mind as the enemy. And they became tyrants over the people even when they came into power. But it's like a thing, that's a developmental thing. I think it's so easy to grab little parts of history, little parts of things that we read, little parts, just the cliche top without going into deep study. The other day I mentioned little things about I'm glad you nipped that in the bud. I didn't want to get into a circular debate about a thing that's been circular all along. But when you view your eyes through some kind of partiality as a religion, if your religion is being a Democrat or your religion is being a conservative, you bow to that worship. So that means that you believe in that. It's a belief system. So you're going to constantly just reject anything that don't agree with what you already agree with. I think that we have to get to a place politically in this country where we stop looking at it through eyes of loyalty to a party. Just because the party is what I believe and what I raised we did and all that stuff, and not be open and fair enough to look at truth and the fact, the history the foundation of anything is go back to understanding. It don't shift and change. It's built on that foundation. It might fluctuate and change, but it's the same. And when we look at that stuff, when we go to both of these parties, because the Republican Party is not for us, nor is the Democratic. They just more of us in. But the one in got these degrees and had their mind reshaped, so they get in and they get inside trading information, and then within 4 or 5 years, they're rich and millionaires.
Wow.
It's partisan politics. It's a spiritual matter. It's a war between good and evil, and you got to pick a side, and you got to base it on something. You're gonna base it on philosophy. But this here civilization, we talked about all the civilizations before. They were great. This in this time here, within the 5,000 to 6,000 years, this is the greatest civilization ever. It's good and it's bad. It's not perfect, and I don't go with it. But you can't deny that things are better, that we do have a more freedom than we had before. We're talking on this format. Do you know in China right now, these different places, people they just kind of stuff against policy.
Okay,
they'll come out on my door way. I'm finished.
No. You good. Something happened to my system just a second ago, and I was just saying something had happened to my system. Yeah, but you good, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go to Badger. What's on your heart, brother?
Man, there's so much. This is one of those things that's like been on my mind for so long, and I've always wondered, like, what is the best way to overcome it, like to overcome some of these things. And a lot of it has to do with the responsibility we choose, unfortunately. It's sort of like, what do you feed? And that's a really hard concept. It's really hard to do. And it takes work, it takes support, it takes helping one another. But the wild part is, a lot of times when you start talking about things like that, there's quite a few people that instantly go, well, they're just going to take advantage of you, and someone's going to take advantage of the system, and so on, and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, where'd they learn how to do that? Yeah, they never like that question. Because I honestly feel the people that take advantage of the system, all that they are is a poor version of what rich folks do.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And that's it. So they learned, just as those people with a bunch. It's capitalism. The only thing is, where do we draw a line? Where's the balance?
Wow. And a lot of times people say freedom. But I like to break words down. Sometimes freedom could mean you're just free to be dumb and not know nothing. You know what I mean? You can just be free to be dumb. And they give you the freedom to be dumb. But that's just my way of thinking sometimes. Let me go to we have I think we have Navy with us this morning. Shanavia, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good. So, it's got a question for you, and I want you to really think about the question a little bit. But what is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority?
Man, I feel like black inferiority is a little worse. I mean, both are horrible, but to feel that I'm less than. And I think that for a lot of us, I think for a lot of Black people, we're still on the plantation mentally.
Wow.
And I think that's why I would think that, because if I feel that I'm superior to you, then yeah, it may be a blow to my ego to be like, well, no, you're kind of not. But that psychological conditioning that has been taking place to make a group of people feel that have to work so hard to build up, it's almost like being in an abusive relationship. Like you keep going back and back again because you don't feel worthy of it. And while, I mean, like, for some of us who grew up in households that we were made to feel like, no, it doesn't matter how the history books or how society tries to erase you or paint you, you are someone. You were kings before you were slaves. Your history didn't start at slavery. Your history started long before then. But then there are some of us that grew up in households that literally did not know that knowledge until we went and searched for it ourselves. So to stay stuck in a mental state of, I am less than because of A, B, C, D, and E, I think that that's more damaging and worse, to have to overcome and unlock that to really make yourself feel worthy of it. And that's not the case for all of us, but for a lot of us, myself included, like, I literally, like, I knew there were great people in my family, but I literally did not know until I went looking for myself that my history did not start at slavery, but that's all I was taught. And that's all that the people in the household with me low key knew. If that makes any sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. It really does. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning? Cassandra?
Good morning. Good morning.
Cassandra, I want to hear your whole heart on this. I'm going to ask you this question, and I want to hear your whole heart on it. What is worse, Cassandra? White supremacy or black inferiority?
Black inferiority.
Why so?
Because I was listening to was that Navy?
Yes.
Or Rosalind?
Navy.
Okay. Yeah, Navy. So I definitely know that I felt inferior, not just to whites a lot of my life, but I felt that way with my own people, you know what I'm saying? I just felt like I was never enough. I was ugly. I wasn't as smart, So I think that black inferiority is what sometimes gives white supremacy its power. That's that's just my opinion. I really do.
Wow.
I really believe that.
That's good. That's good. Joseph, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, much has been said, and like you said, there are layers to this, and I'm glad we're peeling those layers back, because with each layer that's peeled back, we discover something new, not only about the system, but about ourselves and about those who perpetuate an unfair system. So I'm really loving what I'm hearing, because it's empowering. I remember reading on the sixth grade level when I was kicked out of school in '74. I was reading on sixth grade level for much of my life till I got in my 20s. I felt inferior in the military. I wasn't able to compete for promotions because I just didn't get it. I couldn't understand, and then coming out of my background, just partying, smoking weed, and going from club to club on weekends and all that mess, that was my world, it was my life. And I think I was doing all that to try to mask the fact that I was barely able to function in this system. So that in that sense, an inferiority complex was there. And no matter how hard I tried to, get knowledge and understand, I had a problem. I guess I had dyslexia. I had a problem with my mind racing everywhere, and I couldn't comprehend what I read and all that. And I went through that period. It wasn't until I had a prayer meeting or a meeting I feel with God in Germany and pray for wisdom, as the book of James said. He that lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives all things freely and upbraideth not. When I read that scripture, I said, if this is true, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pray for it, and if I don't get it, then I feel like the whole book is a lie. I'm gonna throw it in a trash can. But what did I pray that prayer for?
Come on.
Because I've been getting streams of wisdom ever since, and I can't leave home without a book in my car. I can't sit in the doctor's office and just watch the walls. I got to read. I got to reflect, because I felt like I missed so much. You know, I lost so much time fooling around. But that inferiority complex doesn't exist anymore. I feel equal to anybody on the planet.
Yes, sir.
And I feel that my people, all of African Americans and Africans throughout the diaspora, South America, Central America, the islands, I feel all of us are not inferior to anyone. Now, those who have amassed wealth on our labor, on the resources of the people from those lands, have built up their militaries and have layered these systems, and they have the CIA and FBI and all these other secret agencies spying on the populace, trying to identify any dissidents, and that's what Machiavelli teaches. If you read Machiavelli the Prince, that's what he taught. That's any political leader like Jefferson and all them other founding fathers who read the classic philosophy understood that this is what you use to neutralize the Native Americans, Black Americans, and everybody else. But I read the book too, so I understand it too. And what you do when you learn better, you can use reverse psychology.
Yes, sir.
So when I go into these offices and the mayor's office and confront city managers and police chiefs about honoring the law of EEO4 report, not abusing taxpayers' money, and make sure you hire and promote people of color in these places, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And exactly. I don't go into play. I don't go in there to shuck and jive and small talking and all of that foolishness, because I'm done with that. I'm too old for that.
That's good. That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
Like I said, I always, like to hear a person talk about themselves, because that is what is truly genuine and authentic. And, what can we do to change this? You have to listen to messages like Brother Wheeler and what us free people are telling you. That's the answer. Why are you resisting it? Because one thing I am not going to do is chain myself to another Negro just to satisfy them. I won't do it. My people don't do it, and I'm not going to do it. I wasn't raised to do that. So there are certain people that I believe, like some people say on this radio show, it depends on where you from and where you at, I guess. But like Brother Wheeler, I've never felt less than anybody. If more than anything, I've been taught not to trust anybody that preaches that type of message. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. If I'm standing over here in freedom and you come with a chain, you are my enemy.
Okay.
Why I'm going to negotiate myself into your cage.
Okay. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines open. Got plenty of people listening. Want to hear your input. Asking the question, simple question. What is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir. Rico, I see you, brother.
I'm still pondering a lot of the conversation, trying to sort myself out. I pass it to Rico, man. Don't give me a chance to sort of get my thinking together about, because it's going so many different ways. And
yeah, it's a lot dealing with this. It's a whole lot dealing with it. Yeah. Rico, talk to me.
Man, ain't nothing worse than seeing a cowardly black man, though, man. Man, have you ever seen one just really just bowing down and bucking and tap dancing and, you know, walking on eggshells and bossing and calling them daddy and stuff like that? Oh, man. That just don't sit right with me, man. Ain't nothing worse than that. You know, and that's intentional. But you know what really gets me is when I see the unintentional or the unconscious contribution to the success of white supremacy by black people. The things that we do that we don't really understand is contributing to its success. And that's hard to wake up from. It's very hard to wake up from, man, you know, because, you know, like Navy and Cassandra said, you know, sometimes, you know, you can end up being conditioned to feel that way. You know, if you don't have the right type of guidance of people showing you, you know, I mean, this is the whole purpose of having mentors and people that guide you when you're young, you know what I'm saying, to show you another way to make you be like me, you know, when I was coming up, you know, that I caught myself seeing things going on that made me end up being a union representative at a very young age, representing people that I grew up sort of idolizing, you know, local heroes, you know, and I saw these people, you know, they sort of lost my respect because I saw them tap dancing and cooning and samboing on the job. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I've been growing up my whole life. You the man. You the local Superman. Everybody want to be like you. You got everything that everybody want. Everything negative about our community, you exemplify that. I ain't gonna even say negative, but everything, you the first person with the Jerry curl, you the first person with all the gold chains. Everybody want to be like you, but then we get out here on this job and you telling me, you better be quiet, they gonna run you off. Man, you mean to tell me y'all still going through this out here? Y'all sitting back watching this and letting them say this and getting away, just walking by? Man, you don't want to lose your job. What? So you sitting back watching them mistreat other people that look just like you, and you know they could do it to you, so you better walk on eggshells so they don't do it to you, and you gonna keep your mouth shut for that system to succeed in it. So you know, man, that's the hard part about it, man, is the different things that we love about this system. The more we love it and the more we try to attain it and accomplish it, the more we make that system successful. So, you know, it goes back to that concept of doing for us. Bringing our doctors and our lawyers and our professors and our educators back and doing supplemental Saturdays on weekends and creating a new culture and a new value system, pretty much based on what got us to the point we are now, with people that lived and worked for the community and wanted to uplift us and understood the group concept and understood really what this system was about. You know, either we could look at the Amish, for example. We could look at the Vietnamese and the Chinese and all the different foreign groups that come over here as example, even the Haitians. But we also know why the Haitians still just can't get that. They just can't get that boost that the rest of the immigrant groups get for some reason. So, you know, I think, you know, individually, myself, I still find myself every now and then doing things that contribute to their system. And I have to be like, okay, now I need to wean myself away from it. I see now that this love and this craving and this desire that I have benefits their system more than it benefits me. Or it may hurt what I really want to accomplish because I could be bringing that back more to my community. So it's all, man, it's so many levels to it, like you said, man, that it's going to really be hard for us to break away from it and sacrifice some things that we love and crave and that we actually promote, that unconsciously it promotes to the success of white supremacy.
And that's why I said earlier, sometimes freedom means free to be dumb, because we give it away. We get free to be dumb, man. And that's sometimes what we do. Let me go to our brother Pete. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, my brother. How you doing, DKM Radio, panelists and audience?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Are you talking directly to the phone? It's just a little bit low.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hear you a little bit better. You hear a little bit better. It's that old fancy phone you got you ain't learned yet. But I want to ask you this question, brother, and I want to hear your whole heart on this. What is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority?
Oh, absolutely. Inferiority
Mm-hmm.
is way worse. See, for anyone outside of yourself to have a perspective or an opinion of you, that's possibly something, right? Possibly something. But for you to have a perspective or an opinion of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
now that's something. Because
Mm-hmm.
knowing ourselves, studying ourselves, perfecting ourselves to come back and simply be yourself is all up to you. That's self-mastery, right? That has nothing to do with anything external. And when you put that type of work in and add self-determination to that, then whatever is outside of you coming at you truly is irrelevant. It doesn't exist. It's not even real to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're on the mission of doing self, providing for self in the strength and knowledge and the love and the value of self. So there's nothing outside of you that's even considered in that. It's all up to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
So when you talk about black inferiority, oh no, that's the worst right there. Those of you was inferior. Where'd you get that from?
Mm-hmm. Who taught you
That's
that?
why you hear me come on here with the full fire when we had these discussions. Because at this point in 2022 on planet Earth, melanated folk, and especially melanated folk who we call African American, Black, Negro, Colored, Aboriginal, Indigenous, to North, South, Central American, and the outlining minor items, the copper tone natives. I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
You should have such a strong value, love for yourself with all the historical mess that we've had to deal with just here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the Americas, but North America, what we call America today.
Mm-hmm.
With just a simple history that we know of from when they started recording it to today.
Mm-hmm.
We should have such a strong love, value, purpose for ourselves and a intolerance for things that are egregious or disrespectful or assaultive from anything outside of us to any one of us.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I know I get real strong, and I mean it when I say it. If the Jews can have a mentality of you say anything against them, anything they perceive to be against them, they're going to bring everything they have against you. And we're talking about a conversation, not even an action. It's a conversation. Then what type of response at this point should we collectively have right now? What type of value, purpose, worth, self-determination?
Boy, you better say so, bro.
Yeah. We sitting around here playing, accepting the lowest of the low. Told you that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Told you
Wow.
that you can't be, you can't do, you don't know. It's impossible. You can't have, you can't go. You can't, what? Listen, at this point in 2022, the narrative needs to change. Be clear. We can have whatever discussions, squabbles, issues we have going on amongst ourselves. But boy, if you ain't amongst our ranks and you come in here and say something disrespectful, take a position and that's threatening or damaging or endangering, you putting your very existence at risk immediately when we see that. Wherever it is, whoever it is, no matter who it is, say something sideways about one of these women. And I'm telling you, be taking your life and putting it in other people's hands. Your very existence. Not some hostile conversation. Now, we past conversation with the disrespect of us, the threatening of us, the damaging of us, the stealing of us, the denigrating of us, the misusing of us, the terror, the torment, the torture of us. Just had it with that.
Exactly.
It ain't going to be no more peace and justice and reconciliation and forgiveness. Can we all come together? Yeah. When I crush the wickedness and the wrong that you continue to commit against me and mine. Are you in line with that? Because then my very existence and purpose is to destroy you now, right here, right now, this day of our Lord in time. Let it be said, let it be reported, so let it be done. By me, if necessary, right now to you as I speak.
Now, brother, I know what you're saying, brother, but I want to know, I really want to know how you feel, though. I want to know how you really feel. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, bruh, send me your cash app. I'm gonna send you $1. Just send me your cash app. I'm gonna send you $1.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely love what he just said, and I just feel like we have been our greatest holdback, and still we're doing the same thing. Many of us, not all, because we have those, people like Leonard and Mr. Wheeler and Rico, people that are standing up and saying, oh, no, that's not going to happen right here.
Mm-hmm.
You might try that somewhere else, but it's not going to work over here. And until we get to that mentality, and many of us women, we're standing, but can I tell you something?
Talk to me.
As a leader,
mm-hmm.
I prefer to see a man leading,
mm-hmm.
and I will be right behind him as long as he's doing right.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's standing for something right, because I'm not that woman that I think some people think I'm just, well, she just want to be the boss. No, if anybody knows me, they know that I will follow just as quickly as I'll lead.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be doing the right thing. So I'm just so glad that the conversation is what it is right now. I got some ladies riding with me. We're on our way to Florida. I think I told you about that.
Yes.
Women, and I have some of them, and they're listening, and they're like, yeah. Mm-hmm, uh-huh. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation this morning.
Absolutely. And if any of them have anything on their heart they want to speak, they can pass the phone on to them, let them say what's on their heart. They can join in as well. They can definitely be a part of the conversation. Right now, let me go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother?
Brother, I heard a brother saying, I think it was Joseph saying about, we got to have adult conversation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is true, adult conversation.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? And I listened to Rico, Joseph, and a few others. And the last brother that spoke, man, and he's right on point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That what our ancestors have been telling us, right? Now, there are naysayers and everything. There's a lot of people who look at their own individuality and somehow think they're born on an island. Or they somehow stand in the very ground they're standing on because of them. I, me. Ain't no such animal in the world as far as America is concerned, or any other country in the world. And we still against ourselves because we have misunderstandings of interpretations. I mentioned Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah is hated because he was a communist. He had support from the Communist Party of USSR, another European country. Frantz Fanon was hated, but what they said was, beyond that, they said that Frantz Fanon and Kwame Nkrumah said that even the countries that throw the yoke of the oppressor off, they will be governed by the same yoke through economic and financial conditions, which is true. Now, I don't know how that could turn people. And people never done nothing. Man, look at here. You ain't talking about black people. You ain't talking about black people in Georgia, America. I got a ex-brother-in-law, that big bridge down in Savannah. He's the engineer that designed the bridge and saw to it's built. A young black man who learned from his parents that type of industry where he will see things to and learn the best that he could possibly be and do. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I said, I was raised in the 50s and 60s. I see what black people do when they do. You know what I mean? Rather than talking to I, me, they say us. The very ground, the hollow ground we stand on today, able to sit this conversation. Have a conversation between ourselves,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the people that came before, people that bled and died. We talk about, those among ourselves that don't know, we talk about Martin Luther King, and we forget about the bus riders. We forget about the bus. We forget about the Greensboro boys in 1955, and we talk about Rosa Parks. We don't mention the bus riders who got burned on the bus, black and white people, to come there to make that happen, make that law pass and happen, to demonstrate. You know what I mean? They make it happen. You know what I'm saying? We forget those things, but we praise things that other people tell us to praise. We see things that other people tell us to look at. We come up with all these machinations and everything. But I'm going to tell you that for as far as I'm standing, and I ain't talking about the history in Africa. I ain't talking about the history anywhere else. I'm talking about the history right here in America. This country is our country and our land. This is our country. We made this country. Everything you see around you today, you can put in the hands of a black man or a black woman. It ain't nothing here. Ain't no technology. And we're still minimizing ourselves and people. We should be astronauts. We should be building our own space force. We should be a part of the space force. We shouldn't be ignoring things that's going on because we established this, we created this. Let's continue on. Let's gain control of ourselves. Let's start building the idea and the concept of having your own government and then work in doing it. Without the concept of self-government, how can you can't even follow in a government that you don't understand because you don't know the technology of being governed or how to govern. We've had black mayors. The only black mayor that I respect was Maynard Jackson, the first one. The rest of them have paid lip service of being subdued to racist governors and following along their program of being cast out the shadows, right? Or stealing and stuff like that against our own people. Andrew Young's one of the worst stuff. You know what I mean? But these are the things that we got to do. We have to get up and do things, And those that think you don't have to do because you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, keep on going. And that's how you're going to die.
Okay.
Not doing anything.
Good deal. Stay right
there.
Good deal. Stay right there, brother. Don't you go nowhere. We'll pull some more people into the conversation. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I'm just listening, but I'm just going to be transparent. There's a reason why I'm so withdrawn from things. I just don't participate.
Okay.
I can't get that people that downplay themselves. Anytime you bring the message of what I can and cannot do, we're not gonna get along. I don't care what color you are. But what we can do, we can get together and do right. And then you have to understand that some people may be saying things, and those things are not what really you believe. They may sound good, but this notion, you have to be careful with we. Remember how we used to say community this? We just assume that because our skin is black, that it is a we thing. But no, it's more of you be a person that wants to contribute to something righteous, but you got to get yourself together first. Because most of you sound like segregationists. And it's just the opposite of what that wicked, wretched devil did with these white folks. If your goal is to live with only black folks and to only deal with black people, I understand that, but say that. If you ain't quite figured it out yet, think about it first. Come on, we can't do this and we can't do this. No, you can't. What makes you think you can't? To sit here and downplay all the accomplishment of African Americans and what they have done in spite of, not to even consider what we were doing before we were taken and enslaved. Still telling people what they can and y'all did. We can do this and they doing it. You know how many black doctors? Man took my heart out with the black man. And put me back together. Do you understand? So one, I don't sit down here and downplay the accomplishment of my ancestors. My grandfather didn't bow his head. Why would I bow mine? We can get along with one another and we can live in this place and we can coexist. That's what it's about. That's what this place is about. That's what we fight for. I don't fight for segregation. My ancestors fought against it. This is America. This is not Africa. We should be working towards a greater goal so we don't make the mistake. So nobody come over here. So nobody can't come over here and grab a bunch of black folks and take them somewhere else and make them slaves. I mean,
Wow.
where do we once say, you know what? When you gonna fight? Some of us been fighting. My records say I fight. I've been in places where folks will come to you and tell you some of the weakest stuff in the world. And then they don't want to talk to you no more once they know, like Pete said, you're not one of us.
Wow. 50.
You're not one of us that demanded. You're not one of us.
Good deal. Good deal.
You'll sit there and tell us what we are
confused.
Hold on. 508-924-3521. Somebody said confused. Who said confused?
I'm sorry. I'm just confused on what Brother Leonard was saying. I'm very confused. You know, I don't know. It confuses me.
What part?
What confuses me is that he said that that this America, we ain't this, and we had his grandfather stood up. I don't know. It just don't seem like it matches up. That it's, you know, the past and understanding matches up with the present, you know, and how he frames things. And like you said, he was transparent, so that's him. I'm not arguing about how he feels about things. That's just the analogy that he used and the history that he used, and then he turns around and say, you know, you can't. Then he's saying you can or you shouldn't be. Or we talking about racism. We talk about self. When we talk about bringing up self and working for self, right, to be a part of something, and he takes it as racism or separation. I don't get it. I don't get it. Immigration is
one at a time. One at a time. Hold on.
Immigration is a fact because we're here. We're here together. You know, we're here together. We're here mixed with a bunch of race and everything. So integration is a fact, right? Assimilation is a different thing. And I detest, and I've been doing this all my life. And if Leonard claim he knows me, you met me in an environment like that, right? You met me in an environment like that where I was standing up for my people under the most horrible circumstances. You know, that my last 20 years has been doing that. You know, harsh. Even though I was working and needed money, I still stood up for myself and my fellow employees, right? You know, so, but what I'm trying to say is this, right? I'm consistent on it. I've been consistent all my life. My parents were consistent with stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, that you doing for yourself don't mean that you excluding anybody. It means that you finally realizing that who you have to depend on. Okay. That's all.
Hold on. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, you want to respond to that?
Is Miss Navy on?
No, she had to take off.
Okay, so I'm gonna pose a question to everybody, and they can answer it along the way in their responses. Is self singular or plural?
Singular.
So why do you allow you to use it plural?
Okay.
Self is not a plural thing. Mm-hmm. It's not a we thing.
Mm-hmm.
May I
hold on, Ibrahim. Hold on. I'm giving him the same respect I gave you, brother. Let him finish his thought.
So what I'm saying is people have to commit to something. What are you committed to? When I speak of myself, it's myself. That don't include everybody else. But when you got people speaking in terms of self, I'm always, are they using this? And they want you to believe there's trying to get you to understand they're talking about plurality of some type or themselves. Self-esteem don't have nothing to do with everybody else. Because it's self. You have to find your self. That's singular. But most black people in conversation, when they use it, they're really using it plurally.
Okay. Let me do this. We're not gonna stay on this long because we got a whole topic that we're trying to deal with. I'm gonna let Ibrahim. I'm gonna give you just 2 minutes, brother. Finish your thought. We got to move on. Keep this thing going. What's on your heart?
Well, very gracious of you. You know, the structure of a sentence. You know, if you understand structures of a sentence and paragraphs, right? You can refer to a singularity because piece and person thing, a pronoun, right? And also it can be used as an adverb if you discuss as community. Community can be improved through self-maintenance. You see what I'm saying? So you're saying that community itself, right? That's your subject matter. You know what I mean? So in the words itself, right, just like an analogy, you know, the word in itself or the sentence structure, you can use individuality comparing to communities, race, person, or thing. Okay? That makes it a pronoun, even though it's still an adverb. You know what I mean? You're discussing a person, place, thing. So I hope you will look at that, right? And then look at the whole picture of the sentence structure or the paragraph structure that the subject is community. And the community can be individualized or race or people, white people, white supremacy, self-supremacy, right? Or what? Self-control. You know, that can be used individually and can be used in community because the subject matter is the community of black people.
Okay, I didn't take me 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. You good to go. We got to move on, gentlemen. We got and we'll talk about if y'all remember. Remind me tomorrow. We'll talk about that part of it as well. But right now, I want to get back into the topic that we're talking about today because I don't want to veer too far away from that. Mr. Hicks, you say come back to you, brother. What's on your heart? Got another caller? Caller, we coming to you as well.
Yeah, I was just watching, just listening at the confusion that comes in the language. And I think this is going back to the Native American when we say the white man speak with forked tongues. I think the words and the construction of this language was designed to create this here, to create that. Very difficult to come together because people pick a word, they lock on a word and how it's used rather than trying to feel for what's in between the words, the spirit of the human being that's shining through that. I think that the Creator made us so free. He created us so free that we can willingly put ourselves in bondage. So he said, so when he came and walked in over, he said, you can do things like I did better. You can even do better things than that. He says, I'm no different than you. I'm showing you what you are in your walk in this earth. If you learn to align yourself with these universal principles, as a man thinking as a heart, in his heart, so is he. Do unto others you had them do unto you. You create a reciprocal energy kind of thing. One writer said that we were like antennas. We're sending out energy and vibration, and we're receiving that. So if you put yourself in this world on a level that your resolution to solve your problem is violence, the situation is going to create itself for you to do that. You create a situation. We are creating. You know, when I was in martial arts, I mean, first it was all that Kumite stuff, breaking bricks and doing that stuff, mind over matter and that stuff. Then I met someone. I met this guy that had powers, and I know it's powers. It shaped my whole different belief. He told me to stand against a wall, my back to him. And when I think about moving, he's going to tap me on my shoulder. So I'm standing there, I'm trying to figure out this thing. Every time I decide I'm going to turn down, he would tap on my shoulder. And I said, what are you doing, man? And he talked to me about this energy, this flow that flows through everything and how you can align yourself through discipline. So here's what I'm saying.
That cheap power.
A belief inferiority locks us out of all those potential we have innate inside ourselves, that we haven't cultivated ourselves to be able to utilize to change our reality and be able to control what we walk into. In the scripture, it says that they drank poison that didn't kill them. They were bit by serpents that didn't kill them. That's talking about something innate inside of people. So the freedom is already there, but it got to come through a spiritual channel. You've got to be able to begin to view things out of just the temporal, just the rules of this world. They don't lay down these rules. They laid down this structure. And they did it with archaeology, with theology, with historical changing, creating a change. So I guess the point here on this here so much just by communicating with other people on it's allowing me to pull out of myself things that I just been thinking about that I can verbalize in space where someone can say, wait a minute, bro, I think you're going to, I need that. We need that. We need people around us who honestly say, man, you're going down the wrong path, but I care about you. That brother right there, we've had long debates in my house, long, intense debates.
Yeah,
but it always came out with some understanding I got from him because I was positioning myself. I'm trying to hear from him. I'm not trying to listen to him to find something he said I can come and attack him on. I'm trying to evolve because at being 73 by time on the earth, only God knows. But it ain't as long as it was. Yeah. Exactly. So
Wow.
I've learned how to listen. I learned how to listen to what the Creator's putting through that other human being, because that's the way he talked to me. He talks to me through a book, through something he guides me to look on the television, of listening to the words that somebody say that they think they're just talking. But I know that it's the Creator talking to me because of a specific question I asked him. And it's asked and it's given unto you. That's a principle. But you got to be willing to listen and listen for where it comes from. The source might come from a child. It might come from somebody you pass by while you're walking on the park. I was walking around this park up here, and it surprised me, right? When I walk around, there's a few black people walk around that park. Every time I walk around a black person, they would ignore me. I would always nod my head anyway. But every white person I walked past said, good morning.
Wow.
That's our separation from ourselves, because we've been educated to believe that we're different than the other. And we all, bottom line, comes down to the solution of this problem is recognizing that, first of all, we're all human beings. Some of us are possessed by different spirits. So it makes them a little different. But it says that someone's going to come and separate the shaft from the. There's going to be a thing where all those fakes, get away from me. I don't know you. All that stuff you said, my name, using my name, talking my stuff. Get over there. Get out of here.
Keep away from me. I know you're not. Exactly. Wow. Let's go to Paul. Paul, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I agree with Mr. Hicks and what he was talking about there. And I think we're all, and it even relates to what Leonard's saying too. I think the language is where people get tripped up, because the original question about like what's worse, white supremacy or black inferiority, it's two halves of the same problem. And it's not just black, it's brown people too, with this inferiority thing. So yeah, if you're walking around going, oh, white people are like something special, or I don't know, there's all kinds of different mentalities that exist. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of it we can trace back to religion. Things like the concept of a chosen people. Like if you feel like, well, I want to be part of this group that identifies as being special, like God specifically chose these people to be, better or have some special role or whatever. I think those kinds of ideologies are really harmful. But yeah, I think I think like there's sort of a dynamic that exists where it's like a conflict between like Leonard's ideology, where he's like, I refuse to be overly concerned with the opinions of white supremacist ideology. And then on the other hand, you have another point of view, which is equally valid, that says, well, it exists and I have to deal with it. So, as a person who's melanated, we have to realize, okay, well, I need to just kind of find the middle balance here. Never easy to do. And I think the other thing is, white supremacist ideology is a spectrum. Okay, I've spoken to. I grew up primarily with white people. Okay, I'm mixed, so the white people I've known, many, a lot of them have a little bit of white supremacist ideology, but it's not like Bull Connor, like let's lynch people. It's just like a slight sense of superiority and things like that. So I think but I see that same thing, with melanated people too. So you have to. That's why I don't like to use that word unless I'm speaking with someone where I know I could go deeper into it and define the terms. I don't like to just throw that word out as a talking point, because what are you talking about? Like it can mean so many different things, and if we use it incorrectly, people get very defensive, and it can just derail the conversation.
That's good. Let me it's some of the different people. We got a couple other people that just called in, and so many different things I want to go with this. We may have to extend this conversation actually until tomorrow, because we got less than 30 minutes now, and there's no way we're gonna cover everything that needs to be covered. But let me go to Cassandra for a second. Cassandra, what's on your heart, or do you have anybody else that want to say something?
No, I'm going to wait for the next time. Well, you know what? Let me say this. On the side of white supremacy, right? This is just fact. This is fact, because I used to live around poor white people, and I was a poor black person. Even poor white people believe that they are superior to even the wealthiest black man. I don't care. They consider themselves superior to even many of them, not all. I'm not saying all. I never say all, because they're always exceptions. But many poor white people feel like they are better than the wealthiest black man or black woman. So I wanted to put that out there, and that's not a slam on anybody. It's just fact. It's just true. It's just true.
Wow.
You know, and you know, maybe another time I can tell a story about when I lived in that neighborhood and what happened to me and what happened to an interracial couple that moved in, and how they tormented the white girl that was married to the black man because they felt like he wasn't good enough for her, even though we all poor. What the heck? But anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
There is something about white people that they feel superior, even though they may not have anything close, be as smart as you, anything. They still feel like they have that superior place because of the color of their skin.
Wow. Yeah, good deal. Let me hold on. Let me keep this thing going. Let me go to got a few people that hadn't touched yet. Let me go to K with the E. K, good morning. How you doing this morning?
You know, I gotta get off mute. I'm blessing everybody. Hello.
Hey, good. Okay, we're asking the question: what is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? What is worse?
Oh shoot. Which is worse, which is good. I mean, that's which is good. Which one is good? That's all I can say. Which one is good?
Okay. Hey, we'll leave it right there. Let me go to Ricky. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, man. I'm trying to get my voice. I was trying to get my voice at a certain point where you can kind of understand me, man.
I can understand. You're doing good, brother. You're doing good. I know, yeah, no, you're not feeling yourself this morning. But I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What is worse? What is worse? White supremacy or black inferiority?
No, well, I really don't think we have any kind of inferiority towards as black people. I think what we do is that we make bad decisions. So I don't think that's inferiority. I think that the system has been designed to suppress a certain group of people, and we can. When I was hearing my sister speaking about interracial couple and how they would harass that couple and make the man feel that he wasn't that he wasn't worthy. And I've been in different medias and things of that nature because I'm on the research field, and what really used to really burn me was that I would have people who were kids that I can say kids that people who were graduated from Gwinnett College right here off of 316, and they would stub their doors at FAMU, and you know how I feel about my school. I went to school there.
Yeah,
and that used to burn me. I had one young lady was like, "What is that? FAMU, Florida A&M? I've never heard of that." I said, "Well, honey, maybe you need to get it out." I said, "Maybe you need to get the shackles off your feet." Before I know, that's what I said. My boss had to pull me in because I was like, "That's offensive to me." So I understand the rite of passage that I want to say that they feel like they have because they feel like they have a quicker way to the top because of their skin, and not all, but a lot of them do. And I think that was a very derogatory statement to make because I never looked at Gwinnett College as being a low grade school. I just figured that you didn't have the money to go to a university. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for you to make a derogatory statement like that, yes, I'm gonna say something because FAMU made me who I am, and FAMU have taken me a long way. I worked with the military. I worked with Georgia Tech. I worked at the University of Florida. I worked a whole lot of places, did research. So, honey, don't tell me that FAMU can't take me places because you don't feel like it's a school that has any kind of prestige. You want to go and you say something that I thought that was very insulting to me. because that's my school.
Yeah.
That's my school where I went to school. So sometimes, you know, the system has been made to give them this false narrative that regardless of what they say and do, if you look at the insurrection, think about how those people sitting there and they're still election deniers, and we're almost 3 years in. You got a man still talking about he a victim of the polling. I mean, come on. What people have spoken. They are trying. You got to think they went in. That's why they don't really say it too much about they're winning the House. Because why? Because they did a whole lot of figuration to make it so that they stack the chips where a lot of the districts are now pretty much Republican. So yeah, they're gonna win those seats. You're cheating. So don't get mad at me because you want me to win. Well, you already don't fix the deck. So that's the thing about white supremacy. It's not so much if they feel like they're superiority. It is that they're in a position where they can cheat. And we don't cheat. Because you know why? Because we are holy people.
Wow.
We are holy people.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. If anybody have anything they want to say, give us a call. You're more than welcome to have a part of this conversation. Brother Pete, talk to me, brother. Pete.
Yeah, I had to struggle with that mute button.
Okay, what's on your heart?
We still talking about what's worse, white supremacy or inferiority.
Yes, sir.
My perspective and opinion is inferiority, and just stressing and reinforcing the fact that that has to be on you as an individual, oneself, and certainly do not accept or digest any of that devaluing of oneself. Do not do that.
That's good.
Don't accept that at all. Don't let anybody give you that. Tell you there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the color of your skin. There's nothing wrong with your eyes, your nose, your lips, your hair, the shape of your body. It's your strength, your intelligence, your physical or intellectual abilities. There's nothing wrong with you. You are wonderfully and marvelously made. And anybody or anything that comes to you and is against any of that, because that's how it is with you, please understand you should have zero tolerance, zero entertaining, zero acceptance. If it's your mama, your daddy, you don't care who it is, you do not be accepting of that. Don't go along to get along. Give them the highway of where they can go and go away from here, away from you. Hopefully the earth is flat and they can go to the edge and jump off this bad fella. If they need a push, shove them. If they need a ride, put them in something and drive it straight off the cliff. Be sure to jump out before it goes over, but certainly make sure they go over the cliff.
Wow.
Tell them you got something explosive in there that can kill them and blow them all up. Get rid of them, because that type of mentality should not be accepted by you. You're entitled to feel however you feel, think however you feel. But look here, when you express that nonsense out your mouth, that's where the problem gets started.
Now,
when you try to put that mess on somebody else, that's where the issue gonna come into play.
Now, I thought yesterday with the conversation, with the discussion we had on violence, Rico. I thought yesterday was the violence conversation.
No, it's not violence, brother. It's not violence. See, sometimes we get the wrong perspective when you talk about reaching out and touching somebody. Sometimes you're trying to deliver a person from a wicked, evil condition of mindset. You may be trying to free them from the devil. So when I slap you, it's not out of anger or hatred or revenge. It's because I'm trying to free you from the nonsense and the wickedness and the ignorance that you possess. If I decide to put a hot knife in you, that's because I'm tearing into your flesh to let oxygen come in, let the wicked blood, dirty blood come out, so that new blood to be created. If the universe decides that you should continue, if I decide to shoot you with a bullet in your head, it is because I'm trying to free you from the devil. So don't look at it as I mean to do you harm.
Well,
I mean to give you deliverance.
Well, make sure you explain it. Make sure you explain that to them before you do all that stuff to them, man. Because they might not look. They might not understand. They might not understand.
Hey, can I please hop in?
All of that.
Exactly.
It's so true.
Hold on.
When I first
brother. Hold on. I'll come right back to you. I say I was gonna go to Rico, and then Badger want to say something. Rico, what's on your heart?
Man, I like everything everybody's saying, man. I think it gets to a point to where, well, I'm gonna tell you this. I always felt like just having advantage, entitlement, favor, or privilege just because you were white was some delusional and ludicrous thought process. So, I saw what happened in history and I couldn't believe it. And, at a certain point in time in life, after civil rights and integration, being a 70s baby, it got to a point where you knew it still existed, but you didn't think it was so blatant or that it was so, they hid it so well. I remember in 1988, though, I was in high school, and I remember it was a girl got mad because she got tired of a teacher always using me as an example of how to do some work. And she said something slick, and I said something back to her, and then she said, that don't matter. I'm always be better than you because I'm white.
Wow.
She said, I always have more opportunity than you because I'm white. That's what she said. I was like, what? I had to keep from losing it because I was built different than most of the other black people that went to my school, was in my class anyway. It was a few of them that was just like me. Some of them would have went ahead and did something silly to it, though. So I remember talking to one of my friends about it, man, and I told him what he said. And this is how off guard he was caught by it. I told him what he said. He said, well, you should have told her you could get more white boys than she can because she ugly. I said, what? What kind of punk? But he was so offended, but he still didn't know how to respond to it.
Yeah.
That's what that mindset does to you when you realize that somebody feels that way and they know it. I was like, man, she actually admitted that that's how she felt. She's been feeling like this the whole time. Regardless of what he do, I'm gonna always have a better opportunity. I'm gonna have an advantage. Because I'm white. So to hear somebody say it and admit it, and then hear other people over history and over time say, man, that don't exist no more. You ain't got to worry about that no more. If you feel like you got to worry about that, nah, look, man, you still have to worry about facing that. Look at Ahmaud Arbery. You still have to worry about facing that. So now I wish you could do a poll. This probably would have been the question to ask at the very beginning, but I'm gonna give you, to me, my example of unconscious contributions to the success of white supremacy, or an unconscious example of black inferiority. When Colin Kaepernick kneeled and when Kyrie Irving got suspended the way that he did, every one of those black athletes was supposed to sit down with him and crash the NBA, crash the NFL. I want to ask, how many people on this broadcast would have sat down and boycotted the rest of their games until they corrected Kyrie? And that's going to show you what an example of black inferiority is. Or if you want to see another example of it, how we contribute to the success of white supremacy. Look at majority black Mississippi. No said.
Exactly. I would have, brother. To answer your question, I don't know if anybody else want to answer the question, but I would have. Let me go to our.
I would have.
Exactly. Let me go to our Badger. I said I was gonna go to Badger and Leonard, and then I'm going to Tucson. Badger, what's on your heart?
I'm sitting here just wow. Because I just heard a comment or a few things that were said. It sounded just like white supremacist. Wouldn't expected to hear something like that on the show. It's the whole beating another person or hurting another person because they're viewed as bad, wrong, evil, and things like that. And I'm like, let's repeat history, I guess. That is, oh man, that was it's that's hard to even take in. We there are so many people that work so hard dealing with the ignorant folks that still practice the racism stuff, and some of it's part of their religious belief. because of folks in power twisting words. And we're talking about what is worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And earlier I said equal, but now I'm leaning more to the white supremacy, because if people still think that that's the way to do things, I guess nothing's really changed, has it?
Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Leonard, talk to me. Toussaint, coming to you next.
Just to go back, like me and Pete path crossed for a divine purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been a brother to me ever since. When I first met this brother, he was extending himself to try to help me with something. I did not know him, had just met him. But when he heard that my water heater had busted, what can I do for you, brother? Period. And that's how we've been with each other ever since. And working with people in the community and checking things and making sure that people understand what we're talking about. I can't help you or make you feel better about yourself, but I can do everything possible to give you an example of what you should be and how you should walk and how you should think. But if you don't want it, I'm not going to force it on you. What else am I supposed to do to get you to understand that you're worth something? And so, one, I'm going to carry myself a certain way. I'm not going to be worried about who don't speak, because I'm going to speak to you. I'm not worried about what somebody else going to do about a problem. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do about the problem. And maybe I need to go work with brothers like Pete and that who are on this type of movement this way, instead of sitting over here in the dark with the people that love to change. We fight every day for this. When we see people don't have or facing problems, we get in the gap for them. But what we don't do is we don't sit around and say, woe is us. We overcome and we don't overcame, and we trying to bring others with us. But we will identify quickly if you are not one of us. And so that is, I think, what people don't understand is that, one, you must stand up before you get to talking about we, us, them, this, that, because we not like you.
Wow.
Our skins may match, but
there's about
ain't
3
too
different
many
ways.
gonna jump up in the front of the line.
There's actually about 3 or 4 different ways I'll go in and see. When I listen to stuff, I listen very closely. But there's a lot of different alleys and a lot of different lanes. And man, go cut it out, Rico. I could go down with what was just said. But I said I was gonna go in a certain position, and we only got a few more minutes. We're gonna continue this conversation tomorrow. And Rico, I am going to do a poll, and we'll put it on Facebook and a couple other places to find out what people think about what is worse, and let them comment the way they comment. We may read a few of the comments tomorrow based on what we get. But
or even deeper. See who would have sat down and boycotted and took that hit on that money for Kyrie or Colin Kaepernick if they were in the NBA or in the NFL. Because a lot of people call for the viewers to boycott, but that wasn't gonna stop nothing.
Yeah,
the players once again that black superiority. Once black athletes realize the superiority and the power that they have that makes that machine move.
Now you just jumped over Toussaint. Now you just jumped over Toussaint, don't you? Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? Toussaint, you there?
Yeah, man. It's okay. It's all right though, because it was right in place.
Yes, sir.
You know what surprises me, and I don't mean any harm. When something is said and people are surprised. It tickles me. Because see, it's like you surprised. I had something happen. Use this for example. There was a local pastor that had a burglar come in his house, and he shot him. What else was he supposed to do? So if you come to me with some foolishness,
supposed to pray for him, ain't it? God say,
no
get
fact,
out of my
I
house.
will not. I will not. I got my book to bury him. I'm licensed to do a funeral. Don't mind either.
See,
I'm just saying.
You trying to keep the funeral home in business, huh?
They know they are trying to keep them in business.
Oh, okay.
Come to me with some foolishness. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to, because there are some things that has happened that I'm gonna make sure that don't happen again.
There you go. There you go.
It might happen over there. You can have it over there, and they may smile and grin and talk to you, say, hey, what they called us. Wait a minute, hold on. Where you get that kind of conversation? I'm finna bust you in your mouth. I remember when this Rico. I remember when I had a conversation with a young Caucasian girl in high school, or I think it might have been high school, and she was making some jokes, and because of who she was, she thought that was okay. You know what I told her? I say, you must have a special made toilet to fit that flat tail.
Lord, what Tucson? What you just do, man? What you just
come on?
What Tucson, man? I got to look here. We had this here in court. We take that part off the records. Edit that part off the record.
See, that's how you slap the devil. That's how you slap senses of somebody. Hit them with some truth.
Look here. If what do you call the person that do this? They lie, whatever you call the person that in court. Take that off the record. Omit that from the records. Let me go to Willa. Willa, we need you. We need you right now, sister. We need you right now, Willa. We need you.
Hey, Raheem. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Glow. Good morning.
Willa, we asking a question. What is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? What do you say to that?
Raheem, both of them are bad. So, but you can always see good in everything. But both of them are bad in the sense that, when people think that they are better than you because they may have a little bit more than you, or they live in a different area than you, that's horrible as a human being to think that you're better because you got more than somebody else. And then for somebody to think that they're better than you because they're white or whatever they think they are, and they think that they are privileged because of their color, that's even worse. So I'm just saying, as an individual, like a lot of the people on the panel has said, and then I was listening to, I don't know who that was, talking about how he cut them and how that's funny.
That was Pete.
Because first of all, yeah, I was laughing at him. But he knows, and I believe he was just being sarcastic, that violence is not the answer to change anybody.
That's good. That's good.
An individual choice to choose good or do evil, and who or whatever you are, and we have to be careful with that because we know we're not our own when we don't when we live in this world where we should, but a lot of us don't. So that's my opinion on that right here.
Good deal, Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, you there?
Can I get a chance to say one last thing?
Hello? Mr. Hicks, you there?
Mr. Hicks, can I get a chance to say?
Yeah, I'm coming to you, brother.
Mr. Hicks, I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, wow. Sister Jessica preceded me, said everything that in my heart. She put a caption for me, a period at the end of the sentence.
Okay.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. It seems like our warfare is different. We don't war against people, bodies, and stuff like that, but it's some kind of theologies and belief systems and wickedness in high places. And our weapons are mighty, but they're not carnal weapons. So I think that all of us who believe in our different levels that we influence the outcome of this whole situation. We contribute in a way that we can't see it in our individual stands, like letting our light shine in the darkness, being a difference, showing a different kind of approach to things, and still keeping the anger that this troubled history will bring out of you subconsciously. And what it does, it makes those people that stand a little outside of your with melanin, but we all melanated people. You know, everybody got some melanin. You know, it ain't like melanin people are us. We all human things that got this melanin thing going. But I can't say anything different what the sister just said.
Good
I
deal.
believe in praying for the best things that happen and treating people the way we want to be treated.
That's
and
good.
that's a difficult walk. You know, especially like not returning evil for evil. Somebody treats you bad and you just go back and treat them bad. But having whatever it is, take care to say, I'm gonna be right even if you're wrong. There's a humility that's involved. But we'll talk to the whole continue tomorrow. And who was that Tanya Cassandra before me?
That was Willa.
Willa, oh man, Willa. That's Willa. That's right. She is consistent. Everything is spiritual based. Just like me, she'll go off the pause, but it'd be that structure, that word inside was going to pull us back to the center. But appreciate you, Willa.
Hey, see Willa, everybody trying to say it like that. Willa! Gotta say it like that, though. Willa! That's how you gotta do it. But let me go. I said, Ibrahim, I was going to come to you, brother. What's on your heart?
Yeah, over the last week, we have been in tussles with my conversation and my meetings and everything. And I've heard all kinds of comments. But one thing I'm appreciative that nobody called me a lie. So that means something to me, whether y'all know it or not. And nobody called me a lie. It's your opinion and your life, right?
Yes, sir.
But getting back to the subject of supremacy, right? We forget that we had the same problem amongst ourselves. I was raised up because my mother was a mulatto. I was raised up in a light-skinned community. And I tell you, the racism within amongst our race was just as bad intellectually and socially as it was in the community raised up in the segregated Bible Belt South. The type of religion, the preacher that you went to, the church you went to, and that's still prevalent today. But inferiority, and I've heard this talking about she had problems in her community. Now, if anybody on this radio, I don't know about everybody's life, but if anybody should hate white people, it should be me, before what was done to me, not because they were just white people. But it took me a few years to learn that hatred, but it took me a lifetime to unlearn that hatred. You know what I mean? That everybody's saying. Now, talking about white racism, I drove track trailer by the time I was 18 doing the transition of segregated South. In them 10 years of transition between 1970 up until about 1980, right? It was horrible out there. Laws had been changed and passed. People still refused to entrance. I had to carry a shotgun and a rifle for my own protection and safety. I carried a rifle and a .45 automatic for my own safety, right? I stood among people that had the opinions of their superiority. I've been around poor white people. If I don't know if anybody my age remember Cabbage Town. They were the poorest of white that you ever want to see down south. But yet they had a superiority complex that was reflected by a book about W. Du Bois in The Currency of Whiteness, right? Over 100-some years ago. And also, I lived in South Boston. I worked in South Boston as a machinist, right? And South Boston, these people are in projects. But yet these people in South Boston, these Irish and these white, and over there in Charleston, the mixed Irish, German, white, whatever you want to call them, they had the ideology that they were superior to you and that you were disdained to live in their place. They fought violently. I'm talking about into the 90s. They didn't want nothing dark living in their community and fought. And you moved there, even though you had the right legally and everything, and they couldn't refuse you moving there. Intelligence tell you don't want to live there because they show horror. The few black people that chose to live there. Now, and seeing people being beat up and stowed out in the streets and integrated in school where they spit on us, but those of us, we fought back. We had violent episodes to fight. They don't show that. They show the first black people that went in, they had to take that. But when the numbers increased, all of a sudden the school became from 100% white to 100% black over years because we dared to fight
and stand up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But the administration and also the students that want to bring that kind of stupidity to us, right? But in other words, what I'm saying is that I don't believe that anybody should feel they have superiority over anybody in the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm against that with athletes, when black people say, oh, we the best athlete, we this, that, and other. And I ignore that. But I'm gonna tell you, like my daddy told me, I don't worship nobody, I don't look down at nobody, right? But we have collectively, and I say we have collectively the duty to correct some rights and wrong and to stand up for ourselves and understand what equality really means.
Mm-hmm.
Equality is given, but equality in reality is what you actually able to do and what you actually able to change.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
As a group of people, because we're put in that group, not because of choice.
Okay, stay right there, brother. Stay right there. Say something. We're gonna talk about the same thing tomorrow. Say something for tomorrow, brother. You putting it all out there right now. Say something for tomorrow. Hold right there for a minute. Let me go. Kay, what you had anything on your heart before we hadn't touched you in a minute? You got anything on your heart before we get out of here? Mute button right there, Kay. Right there. Right there. Yeah, right there. Push that button.
Hush. I'm cooking. That's why.
Oh Lord.
I'm cutting up spinach.
Hold on. Kay, hold on. Kay, you say you cooking?
Yes.
You cooking?
I'm cooking me some scrambled eggs with some spinach, some rice, some turkey bacon, and some hollow bread.
Hey, Cassandra.
Hollow bread.
Cassandra, I don't hear no smoke detector. Oh, she gonna get me later. Lord, she gonna get me.
Mine ain't sensitive. Hers is messed up. The battery doing some stuff with her.
Oh, okay. Anything on your heart before we get out of here?
No, just some peace, love, and laughter.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. We ready to get out of here. We actually over already. So if anybody have anything they want to say before we get out of here, real quickly, we gotta go. Anybody got anything? We're gonna continue this conversation tomorrow. Good deal. Huh?
Raheem.
Yes, ma'am.
You finally got an opportunity. Just my husband's in the car with me.
Hey!
His name is Sherman. Yes, just say hi.
Hey, how are you?
Man, good morning. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, man. Do a great show, man.
I appreciate it.
Great show.
I got to get your input, brother. You can't just come through like that. Now, what do you think is worse, white supremacy or black inferiority? I got you
White
thinking now. See, I got you thinking. I love this.
All we have to do is look at an ex-president. Oh, wait, did I say that?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, you guys do what you need to do in Georgia coming up, okay?
Absolutely. I'm doing everything I can do to make sure it go in the right direction, brother. I'm definitely doing everything I could do to make sure that it goes in the right direction.
Sir.
Good deal. But like I say, my thing is it's an honor talking to you, brother. I've been asking about you a long time. I always tell her to tell you. I said hello. I don't know if she do it or not, but I tell her to tell you.
Yeah, she tells me all the time.
There you go. Good deal.
You're doing some good things, man. Yeah, stay on the wall.
Hey, to God be the glory, brother. To God be the glory. To God be the glory, man. It's all him, brother. Ain't got nothing to do with me. You ain't getting me in no trouble trying to take the honor. To God be the glory. Yes, sir.
Amen.
But Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
Man, if you missed today's show and would like to hear us see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dklmediagroup.com.
Okay, now comes the part of the broadcast. Willow!
Raheem, let's go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, Raheem. I'm ready.
Well, you know what? I ain't got number one more thing to say. Let's go.
Let's go, Raheem. Let us go to the throne of grace this morning. Let us go with confidence and boldness. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to get up this morning to commune one to another. Father, we thank you for your message that you have going forth, Lord. Father, we thank you for your mercy and your grace. Father, we thank you for all you do in our lives, oh Lord. By chance, if we forget to say thank you, Lord, Father, we're saying thank you, Lord. Father, I'm asking you to be a keeper of those who've lost loved ones this morning, Lord. Touch those. Said it in your word that you'll be their comforters during these times. We trust you and stand on your word, Lord. Father, we love you and honor and glorify you this morning. Father, giving you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. We thank you, Lord. Yes, hallelujah, Lord. And glory to God. Yes. Amen.
Amen. See, that's the way you end the broadcast right there. Gotta take it back before him. Gotta take it. That's how you end it right there, Rico. That's how you do it right there.
You know what, though, man? I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Willa was a little bit nervous because her husband was around, because she normally come with a little bit more. You know, that she came with it, but I felt a little bit more subduedness a little bit. You know, maybe she was trying to be a little.
She held back a little bit.
She was being a little humble a little bit. I'm gonna let hey, Mr. Brown. Man, she normally bring that fire. I ain't lying. She have us on her crying sometimes. She be bringing that fire so hard, man. I mean, that passion be coming with it. So I think you stole a little bit of her heart this morning.
Well, look at.
I was driving, so.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. She was distracted.
See.
Yeah, I'm driving.
See, if I'd have known you were driving, I'd have told him to pray for us. I'd say, hey, Mr. Brown, you need to pray for us, brother. Come on.
Yep.
There you go. He could have did.
I know it.
He did it. Brian.
I know. I already know. You ain't got to tell me. I already know.
She did that while she was driving. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And didn't hit nobody.
You see what she was doing? She was praying.
There you go. Exactly. Well, listen, we're ready to get out of here, man. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now, 10:12. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light for you on Real Men on the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. See you tomorrow. God say the same.